Hello and welcome to Climbing Daily, and we're doing a gear show, but it's going to be a little bit different from normal because we are buried deep in a Saas-Fee multi-storey car park basement for the UIAA World Cup. This is Ian. Ian is one of the athletes competing here this weekend, and he's very kindly sat down with us to talk about how to sharpen ice tools. Now, you are a very high level ice climber, and I say ice, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But we're going to talk a little bit about how you sharpen your tools, and also how the guys at home, if you're dry tooling or ice climbing, the kind of things they want to do. So let's start off with the cool bit, which is your ice axe, and it's very different from my ice. I've got a pair of Nomics. This is different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you are going to see some similarities to the Nomics and other tools that you see most people use, but then there's just some shape differences. If we look at the pick, you'll still see some similarities to like a Nomic or some Black Diamond tools, case and that kind of stuff, but the main difference here is that we have a very aggressive kind of beak with a curve here, and that allows us to get some of those difficult edges when dry tooling.
Okay, so let's talk about the tools you use to sharpen the tool, because you've got two chisels down there. One is a flat and one's got a curve in it.
Yeah.
What's the difference, and which one would you use for ice axes?
Well, so it depends. I always carry both of them because when you're competing or when you're climbing in general, you don't really know what kind of damage you're going to do to your tool until you've done it. So I always carry the kind of the half moon file to be able to adjust this curve so it's still a nice, even, smooth curve there. And then I have just a flat file to try to get rid of the burrs and do kind of the more general shaping.
So generally, once you've competed, how damaged do the tools get? Do you just keep them in top-notch order? Because psychologically as well, that's like a nice thing to have when you're pulling onto the wall.
I generally try to keep the main shape, but don't take too much off. The picks that I use are also armored steel, so they're extremely tough. Usually I'm hurting the holds instead of the other way around.
Okay, so you talked about the curve that you need on this tool. Yeah. So how would you maintain that curve? What kind of a motion are you making with that tool?
You know, I look right up there towards my face, and then I kind of grab the file
on the rounded, so the rounded
on
edge
the rounded
down.
side, and then I kind of look and see, you know, maybe it's just kind of straightforward, maybe it's a bit of a curve, and I try to follow the shape of the blade. You know, don't go too much freehand. I always try to follow the general shape of the pick.
There's a difference between what you do and what people who are dry tooling and ice climbing will do, but generally, do you want to always follow the angle of the tool? Are you trying to change it too much?
It kind of depends. A lot of people will modify pretty drastically. The picks that I have here, I really like the shape of. I do have a couple of other picks, I won't mention who makes them, that I hate the shape of. Okay. So as soon as I get them out of the box, I pull out new files and I completely change the shape. But then once I climb on them, I try to maintain the shape that I gave them.
And the teeth, what kind of angle are you trying to keep on those teeth?
So the teeth that I have here, they're all flat. Some people like to have them kind of a beveled edge. I don't really like that. I like them completely flat because I feel it gives me more stability on certain holds, especially if I'm kind of wrapping it, because then, you know, a flat surface gives you more stability than kind of a sharp surface.
For sharpening the teeth, would you use a different chisel? Is it a chisel?
It's a file.
File. Yeah. See, I'm rubbish. This is why I'm a media person. I haven't got a clue chisels and files. Do you use the straight edged file or the rounded edge for that stuff?
Well, sometimes it depends on how curved it is. Sometimes it's just a little edge that you can, you know, kind of get rid of in one or two motions. Other times, this, you know, because the edge here is a bit sharper, you can kind of sneak it in there. And then other times you have to pull out, you know, even smaller ones to do some really specific
little moves. Okay. Now, crampons. Is it a fruit boots?
Yeah.
Fruit boots. This is really sharp, which does this work on ice, or is this because you guys are kicking into wood that it's this needle-like?
Yeah, so we kick into wood most of the time. This, if I climb only ice, I'll probably rip through the ice. Okay. And you can see I have a very low volume here as well. So this, for me, I like because I can kick in and it really just sits right away. Okay. And then again, the low volume of it means that I can kind of twist my foot around without it coming out and losing my footing.
So let's say you've topped a semi-final route.
Yeah.
Would these need resharpening before the finals, or do you leave them? Like, how much time can you give it? Or does it just depend on the route and how badly
it depends on the route. Sometimes sometimes you're not exactly paying attention to your footwork. I mean, climbers.
I have no idea what footwork is, so yeah.
And sometimes, you'll kick a bolt, you'll kick a hold, and you feel it, and it hurts. And then you'll look at your front point later on, and it kind of has a curve to it.
I've got a question for you. Whenever I sharpen my crampons, I never know which way to go. Does it matter? So should you be going down or up, or does it?
I always hold them close to me, and again, once I have a good angle that I like, I try to just follow. And then I grab up here because I feel like it gives me a lot better, again, very close to my face, and kind of smooth movements, and try not to change. Once you start with the movement, kind of follow through in the same kind of angle.
And you always want to taper, even for normal ice climbing, you want to taper that down to a point,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, for normal ice climbing, the sharper your, front points are, the less you have to kick.
This is true.
So,
and then
one thing though, when you're dry tooling and you're on rock, if they're very, very sharp, as soon as you do a couple of moves on the rock, they'll be dull. So like with your picks, if you're on rock, maybe not as sharp, because then they stay that way the whole time.
Let's say someone's got a set of ice tools, it's feeling a bit blunt. What's the first steps would you recommend they do to get that? So decent pair of files first of all? Yeah,
decent pair of files. Files do wear out. I've actually gone and forgotten files and asked my dad, hey, do you have some files? And he goes, yeah. And I grab them, and using a piece of paper would have been the same thing. Okay. So a good set of files with a couple of different shapes, and just learning to have very smooth, even movement.
Okay, and patience, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, look, Ian, thank you for spending time with us today. I know it's absolutely freezing down here. Best of luck for the rest of the ice climbing season. We will be following along, so everyone at home wishes you good luck. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you want to check out ice climbing gear and all that, on the EpicTV shop, and there's links in the descriptions below. But we do not sell files, so, hardware store for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.